Now, I'm not one to gossip, but I will bring you the tea. Welcome to Chronicle Speaks.
Please, I don't have any time for any gossip now. Eh? Yes.
Look at you.
So in today's episode of Can't Stop, Won't Stop, we have 4 new lawsuits submitted by Tony Buzbee from the Buzbee Law Firm. Now, as you recall, Tony Buzbee had a press conference, and during this press conference, he stated to represent 120 victims, 60 male and 60 female, who are filing civil suit against Sean P. Diddy Combs. Well, today, 6 lawsuits have been filed, 4 male and 2 female, all going by either John Doe or Jane Doe. These lawsuits and the accusations are pretty intense, but you know we will break them down over here. But before we do, please be sure to subscribe to this channel and hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss out on any news regarding this story and so much more. Now let's get back into it. All last week, Diddy had me outside making videos just about every day, but the information I have for you now has me like,
Remember that shit I gave you last week? It's nothing. It's nothing. It's nothing. This shit right here.
these lawsuits are starting this Diddy week with a bang.
All lies will be exposed. That's all.
So the Houston lawyer who promised a flurry of new lawsuits against Sean Diddy Combs filed his first complaints Monday on behalf of 2 Jane Does and 4 John Does, who all claimed they were SA'd by Combs between 1995 and 2021. One of the lawsuits is from a man who claims he was 16 years old when the mogul SA'd him after being invited to Combs' white party. The lawyer Tony Buzbee confirmed in a statement Monday of his plans to file 6 complaints this week against Combs. The first of the 120 clients Buzbee previously said he was representing, with a range of SA claims against Combs going back decades. The 6 lawsuits were all filed in the Southern District of New York under the city's Victim of Gender Motivated Violence Protection Act. So the first case we're going to talk about involves a 16-year-old minor. This case seeks compensatory and punitive damages for the SA of a minor. The assault, which was part of a practice that defendant Sean Combs had of grooming or attempting to groom minors, occurred at what was termed a white party at Combs' residence in New York. The conduct described herein is shockingly typical of defendant Sean Combs. Combs was aided in his abhorrent conduct over the years by many individuals and entities. Sean Combs for many years believed he was above the law. He is not. For decades, Sean Combs, also known as P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, Diddy, PD, and Love, herein known as Combs, abused, molested, assaulted, threatened, and coerced men, women, minors, and others for sexual gratification to assert dominance and to conceal his abhorrent conduct. He accomplished these acts by and through a criminal enterprise built on his success as a rapper, record producer, and record executive. Combs is one of the wealthiest music artists in the world, behind the facade of being a 3-time Grammy Award winner, discovering and developing multiple famous musical artists, and ranking on Forbes' list as one of the highest paid entertainers in the world. There existed something sinister, a dark underbelly of crime, sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, bribery, and prostitution. Combs is a menace to society, women, and children. While his wealth has kept him above consequence for years, Combs now faces the awesome power of the American judicial system and ultimately a jury of his peers who will be asked to punish him for the deplorable conduct described herein. So the lawsuit goes on to talk about Combs and his various businesses. Some of those businesses are being sued right along with Combs and are listed in these 6 lawsuits. However, they're saying that these businesses are indeed legitimate, but they're saying that Combs, his agent, employees, and contractors use these businesses to SA, abuse, threaten, and coerce hundreds of individuals through sexual quid pro quo schemes, as well as take advantage of individuals with impunity, thinking the victims would never seek recourse. They're saying that through these businesses, Combs would say things like, "This is what it takes to become famous. What are you willing to do to become a star?" and perform this sexual act, or else to coerce the victims into performing a non-consensual sexual act for the gratification of Combs and his coerced. So the rest of the lawsuit goes over his past, all of his current accusations, everything with him and Cassie, Joy Dickerson Neal, all of the lawsuits that he has going on right now. So let's get into the factual allegations of this particular lawsuit. Mr. Combs' legendary white parties in the Hamptons were well known by many, including John Doe, the kind where countless celebrities would attend. In 1998, when John Doe was only 16 years old, he was recruited out of New York City, and indeed, while residing in New York City, received an invitation invitation to one of Combs's parties through a mutual connection. When he received the invitation, he felt like he finally had the opportunity to rub shoulders with the who's who of the industry. He thought it could be a chance to break into the music industry. Others from New York received such invitation to go to the Hamptons for the party. Indeed, many of those at the party were in fact New Yorkers. The party took place at Combs's mansion in the Hamptons. As John Doe entered, he spotted countless celebrities and A-listers who formed the music and entertainment industry. He recognized faces he had seen on TV and on the big screen. As John Doe made his way through the crowd towards the restroom, he unexpectedly bumped into Combs. Shocked, John Doe found himself face to face with Combs, a titan in the music industry, standing right in front of him at his own party. Doe took a picture with Combs at the 1998 party. Combs took an interest in John Doe and wanted to talk to him. They walked to a more private area near the portable restrooms brought in for the party. There, John Doe told Combs he was a big fan of Combs and shared his dreams of becoming a star. Combs smiled, telling him he had potential and the look. When John Doe admitted his voice was not great, Combs assured him that did not matter. Combs made clear that the only thing that mattered was having the right look for the industry, and with it, Combs could transform Doe or anybody into a star. Despite the pleasant conversation which occurred, things took an unexpected turn for the worse. Combs abruptly told John Doe that he needed to drop his pants. John Doe, caught completely off guard, confusingly asked Combs to repeat himself. Combs made himself clear. He instructed John Doe to drop his pants and expose his penis so that Combs could inspect it, explaining it was a rite of passage and a route to becoming a star, and also as a way to prove himself. Don't you want to break into the business? Doe immediately felt uncomfortable, froze, and did not know what to do. Combs remained calm and stood in front of him and stretched out his hand in a cup position. Out of fear, anxiety, and the imbalanced power dynamic between himself and Combs, John Doe then dropped his pants and exposed his penis as Combs previously instructed. Combs moved closer and grabbed John Doe's penis and genitals with his hand. He firmly cupped and held onto John Doe's genitals for an extended period of time. During this time, Combs moved his hand in such a fashion to manipulate John Doe's genitals, squeezing and filling them. Doe was only 16. Combs abruptly then let go of John Doe's genitals and told him that his people would be in touch. Combs continued with his party as if nothing had happened, but for John Doe, everything had changed. John Doe eventually recognized Combs essayed him by and through his power and influence over John Doe because he knew John Doe wanted to become a star. As a result of Combs' essay onto John Doe while he was a minor, John Doe experienced damages including pain and suffering, mental anguish, physical impairment, and emotional torment. The interaction continues to humiliate and cause shame to John Doe. Because of Combs' power and notoriety, plaintiff was afraid to report what had happened. John Doe became yet another essay victim of Combs' through the same pattern and abuse of influence Combs exercised over others previously. So let's jump right into lawsuit number 2, factual allegations. In or around June 1995, plaintiff attended a promotional party at Elks Plaza in New York City for the music video One More Chance by Biggie Smalls. The event was packed with high-profile guests. While plaintiff was dancing with friends, Combs approached her and asked to speak with her privately. Expecting an innocent conversation, plaintiff agreed and followed him. Once alone in a bathroom, Combs unexpectedly began kissing plaintiff. Feeling uncomfortable and confused, plaintiff asked him to slow down, believing they were there to talk. Instead, Combs advanced aggressively. When plaintiff attempted to pull away, he violently struck her, slamming her head against the wall and causing her to fall to the floor. Disoriented and in pain, plaintiff tried to escape, but Combs hit her again, making it nearly impossible for her to move. Combs then lifted her dress and awed her vaginally while she lay there helpless on the floor. Plaintiff tried to resist, but her injuries and shock left her powerless. After the assault, Combs adjusted his clothing in a nonchalant manner and threatened plaintiff, saying, "You better not tell anyone about this or you will disappear," leaving plaintiff terrified for her life. Combs left the bathroom, abandoning plaintiff in a state of shock, fear, and shame. Plaintiff remained on the bathroom floor for a while, trying to regain her composure. Plaintiff felt intense pain in her head from the blows and was emotionally shattered. After some time, she managed to stand, fix her underwear and dress, and wipe away her tears. Terrified that someone from Combs' business might be waiting outside to harm her, plaintiff cautiously gathered the courage to leave the bathroom. Plaintiff left the party and never returned. Since the assault, plaintiff has avoided the news as it triggers traumatic memories. For years, plaintiff kept the assault secret, fearing retaliation from Combs and Combs' business. Lawsuit number 3, factual allegations. Combs and his staff regularly invited members of the public to events such as music video shoots, photo shoots, autograph signings in and around New York City. One such event took place in 2004 across the street from Jane Doe's college campus in Brooklyn, New York. Through Miss Doe's friends and Combs' accomplices and agents, Miss Doe received an invitation to Combs' photo shoot. She was 19 years old at the time. She was flattered and excited to receive such an invitation from an individual of Combs' celebrity and stature. Miss Doe accompanied her friends to the event and discovered that it was a photo shoot promoting the band, a recording group Combs signed to his record label Bad Boy Entertainment. At the photo shoot, she and one of her good friends, another freshman living in the dormitory with Miss Doe, were eventually invited to an after party by Combs' business associates. Before leaving for the party, Miss Doe had met Combs at the photo shoot. Combs told Miss Doe and her friend that they should come by his hotel first for a more exclusive party. Miss Doe and her friend agreed and were taken to the Manhattan area Marriott Hotel by a member of Combs' entourage. Upon arriving at the hotel suite, Miss Doe noticed that there were a dozen people that were having drinks and listening to music in a relaxed party environment. While attempting to mingle around the party, Miss Doe and her friend were suddenly grabbed and taken to a separate room off from the main party. Miss Doe believed the man taking them to be a security guard, so she went with him. But when she asked where they were going, he simply told her, "You know what you're here for." After taking Miss Doe and her friend to the bedroom, the security guard left the room and locked the door. The only person in the room besides Miss Doe and her friend was Combs. Combs gave Miss Doe and her friend more drinks, then instructed them to imbibe cocaine that he had prepared for use on the coffee table. Miss Doe did not want to do the cocaine. Combs continued getting gradually more aggressive with the two women and eventually began forcibly touching them without consent. When they resisted, Combs ordered Miss Doe's friend to perform oral sex on him, or else he would have them both killed. Miss Doe's friend complied, and Miss Doe begged Combs to allow them to leave. He did not agree. Combs soon turned his sights to Miss Doe and forced her to take her clothes off, again under the threat of violence. Once she was undressed, Combs forced himself on her and began to essay her. Combs fondled, molested, and ultimately awed Miss Doe, all while she begged him to stop. Soon, and likely due to Miss Doe's cries, the door opened and the security guard from earlier came in to ask if everything was all right. Miss Doe's friend took the opportunity to rush out the recently unlocked door. Miss Doe, however, could not move as Mr. Combs was still on top of her. Combs got off of Miss Doe to talk to the security guard. He left the room and told Miss Doe to stay or otherwise she would be killed. After about a half an hour of sitting in a dark room by herself, another security guard came in and told her she could leave. Miss Doe gathered her things and left immediately and called a taxi to her dormitory in downtown Brooklyn. Lawsuit number 4. Plaintiff worked for Royal Reign Management, a prestigious company based out of New York City with additional offices in Los Angeles and Atlanta. Through plaintiff's industry connections, he gained access to parties associated with Combs and Bad Boy Entertainment. One party took place in or around October 2021. These connections and invitations ultimately led to life-altering and traumatic experiences for plaintiff. Combs' businesses picked up plaintiff from the airport and transported him to New York City where the party was to take place. Upon arrival, plaintiff noticed several well-known artists in attendance. Plaintiff was immediately offered what he was told was ecstasy by associates of Combs' business, which plaintiff refused. Plaintiff limited himself to just one drink. Even though plaintiff only consumed one alcoholic drink, the effects of the drink were immediate and overwhelming. This behavior towards plaintiff mimics a pattern of Combs and his agents/employees drugging unsuspecting victims in order to make it easier for Combs to essay that person. Unfortunately, plaintiff was one such victim. A photograph of an exemplary container used by Combs and or his agent/employees to insert GHB into alcoholic drinks is seen below. Plaintiff soon became disoriented and the room started spinning. In a state of confusion, he attempted to remove himself from the situation, seeking a safe space. As plaintiff tried to leave, a male voice told him, "Hold on," and he promised to help him. The next thing plaintiff remembers is in the bathroom. Despite being vaguely aware of his surroundings, he could not move, speak, or fight back. Plaintiff was paralyzed, feeling as if he was trapped in his own body. Multiple men began to essay him through sodomy and other forced acts. He distinctly recalls seeing Combs above him, naked at one point during the assault. During the time, plaintiff was sodomized by at least 3 men. Plaintiff could feel a difference in the size of the men when he was being sodomized, further confirming the presence of multiple attacks. attackers. Plaintiff continues to attend therapy sessions to address the trauma from these experiences. Lawsuit number 5, factual allegations. Sean Combs' infamous white parties were legendary events known for their exclusivity, extravagance, and strict dress code where attendees were required to wear all white. These high-profile parties, particularly those held at Combs' estate in the Hamptons, attracted A-list celebrities from across the entertainment, fashion, and business worlds. These events were lavishly decorated, featured live music performances, and boasted top-tier food and beverages. The atmosphere at these parties were one of opulence and luxury, often making headlines for their celebrity guest list, over-the-top entertainment, and stunning aesthetics of the events. Many unsuspecting individuals were recruited to attend these parties. Some of this recruitment took place in Manhattan. Many individuals also were recruited in Los Angeles and were paid to fly in to attend these functions. In 2006, plaintiff was employed by a security firm, Mass Security, where he provided security services for nightclubs and private events. In August of that year, plaintiff accepted a last-minute job at Combs' East Hampton property, which he believed was hosting an exclusive white party for a large, affluent crowd. Plaintiff noted the guests arrived in luxury vehicles and many appeared to be executives. Upon plaintiff's arrival, he was greeted by Combs, the event host, who expressed interest in meeting all staff members. During their interaction, Combs offered plaintiff another job opportunity, working security, which plaintiff ultimately declined due to his father's severe illness and challenges of relocating. Combs appeared sympathetic in plaintiff's situation and understanding of his decision. As the event progressed, Combs targeted plaintiff and provided him with 2 alcoholic drinks throughout the night. After consuming the second drink, plaintiff began to feel extremely ill and leaned against his truck for support. Based on information and belief, Combs, by himself or through his agent/employees, previously laced the drink with drugs, including but not limited to GHB and/or ecstasy. This behavior towards plaintiff mimics a pattern of Combs and his agent/employees drugging unsuspected victims in order to make it easy for Combs to essay that person. Unfortunately, plaintiff was one such victim. A photograph of an exemplary container used by Combs and/or his agent/employees to insert GHB into alcoholic drinks is seen below. Combs approached him again, inquiring about his well-being and displaying what plaintiff initially interpreted as concern. However, he soon found himself being forcibly pushed into an open van by Combs, an act that left him in considerable pain. Once inside the van, plaintiff was held down by Combs, who overpowered him while he struggled to escape due to the effects of drugs in his system. In a horrific turn of events, Combs essayed plaintiff by inserting his Johnson into plaintiff's back door and sodomizing him, all while dismissing plaintiff's pleas for help by repeatedly saying, "You'll be all right." After the assault, Combs left plaintiff in the van and proceeded back to the party. Plaintiff struggled to leave the party due to the drugs he believed to be in his system from the alcoholic drinks Combs provided. As plaintiff was leaving the party, he experienced a disturbing sensation as lubricant-like fluid leaked from him, which he believed to be semen, causing him profound disgust. When plaintiff finally managed to leave the scene and return home, he informed his supervisor of the incident. Upon arriving home and showering, plaintiff noticed more semen discharge, which intensified his feelings of violation and revulsion. In the aftermath of the assault, plaintiff struggled with intense emotional pain and mental health issues, feeling disgusted and deeply depressed. Plaintiff has experienced a significant impact on his personal life. He is never married and often struggles to maintain relationships due to the assault. Plaintiff describes himself as an all-American guy, yet acknowledges not a day goes by without the thought of the traumatic incident. Final lawsuit, lawsuit number 6, factual allegations. In 2008, plaintiff worked as an advisor for Echo Clothing and had been employed by the company for approximately 7 years. Echo Clothing at the time was among the most popular clothing lines in the country. In 2008, Combs' Sean John clothing line was also hitting peak popularity. Plaintiff had in fact met Combs several times in connection with Combs' development and marketing of the Sean John clothing line. Echo and Sean John were competing lines within the clothing industry, both having a large amount of success within the hip-hop community. Moreover, both lines had relationships with and were carried at the time by Macy's, a well-known department store. In or around May 2008, plaintiff was in the stockroom at Macy's flagship store at Herald Square in Manhattan when Combs and 3 of his bodyguards entered the stockroom. Plaintiff came upon Combs and his bodyguards at the T-junction in the stockroom, where plaintiff had very little room to maneuver. maneuver. Combs was flanked by 2 large bodyguards to the left and 1 large bodyguard to the right. Immediately after turning a corner in the stockroom, plaintiff was hit hard around the base of the neck, possibly with a pistol. The blow forced plaintiff to his hands and knees. As plaintiff looked up, he saw that each bodyguard had guns in their waistbands. Plaintiff heard multiple voices call out things like, "I'll kill you." Combs approached plaintiff while plaintiff was still on his hands and knees and said, "Suck my D, Echo," referring to the clothing line that plaintiff worked for. Combs thereafter forced his Johnson into plaintiff's mouth and proceeded to forcibly and brutally orally R plaintiff. Combs continued for at least 2 minutes until ejaculating. While orally R-ing plaintiff, Combs grabbed plaintiff's hair and made derogatory comments like, "You like that, white boy?" After he was finished, Combs threw plaintiff's head aside and said words to the effect of, "Shut up or I'll kill you." Combs and his bodyguards began to leave, taunting plaintiff as they did. Combs proceeded to gather Sean John merchandise from the stockroom. He left the stockroom and headed out to the Macy's retail floor, where he began passing out merchandise to an adoring crowd as if nothing happened. Shocked and traumatized, plaintiff gathered himself and went to Macy's security to report the assault. At this point, Combs and his bodyguards had left the store. Plaintiff was told that someone would speak to him, but no one ever did. Shortly thereafter, Macy stopped letting plaintiff into its flagship Hero Square store. Approximately 3 weeks later, Terry Longren, CEO of Macy's, pressured Echo executives to fire plaintiff because Macy's had just signed a multi-million-dollar deal with Sean John Clothing. Echo thereafter terminated plaintiff from employment, and plaintiff was told he could no longer live in his company-paid apartment. Plaintiff is informed and believes that the report of the assault was destroyed and or otherwise purged from Macy's records, and no action was ever taken as a result of the report. Plaintiff ultimately had to move out of New York. Plaintiff still fears for his life as a result of the incident and the threats made against him on that day, including the fact that plaintiff was known to Combs by way of his work with rival clothing company Echo. It seems like Buzbee did not come to play with Diddy, and these are only 6 out of 120 lawsuits that he has coming. I don't know what else we will see, but I'm pretty sure that he let out the big guns first. I don't know, y'all, but these lawsuits sound pretty believable, and they said that Tony Buzbee did his checks and balances before putting them out. What I need to do is hear from you. What do you think about these 6 lawsuits that have come out against your boy Diddy? This is 6 out of 120. Leave a comment and you know how we do. We'll talk about it down below. Talk to you guys later. Bye. Once again, thanks for watching. Before you go, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, hit the like button, and hit that bell so you don't miss out on any of my new episodes.